Greetings. Welcome to the joint, the spiritual joint, where we share musings and ponderings on all things spiritual. Just want to talk about what is love. Word comes up, we talk about things that we love, places that we love, things, ideas, concepts that we love. But what is love really? Great, well, I think, great explanation is that love is doing what is good and right to and for a person. I added a little bit into the definition. It's an action that is doing what is good and right to and for someone. So you do good things to them, you do good things for them. It's not just this butterfly thing that's going on in your gut, which, if you really think about it, any other time you have butterflies or that feeling like that, it's usually some type of angst or some type of anxiety or some type of anxiousness. But we see somebody go somewhere and get these butterflies, and it may not always be a good thing to have that feeling, especially when you know you may be considering a love that is not agape. So just wanted to discuss love a bit, because when we're basing it on this butterfly thing, we tend to not focus or see things or recognize things as we would normally in a given situation. It's something that we need to think about and consider, especially when, you may be a parent and you might want to share these things with the youth you're bringing up, or if you just are around younger people, so that they don't get tripped up, we shall say, that you need to be mindful of people's actions, because another great thing that I learned along the way is when people can make their mouths say anything, especially when it's for their benefit, but your actions will usually speak louder than words. And as cliche as that sounds, as ran into the mud as it may be, it still rings true. So, when people say things, you have to look at what they're doing behind what they're saying. If they say they are your friend or your confidant or your bestie or whatever, are they really acting in that manner? Are they really doing that which is in the best interest of the relationship? And sometimes, in truth, sometimes mistakes can be made, and if you make those mistakes, then if you are being a true friend, person, lover, whatever you may be, you apologize for that, and then you don't do it again. You shouldn't do it again. If you meant what you said, you stand on your word, and word is bond. But sometimes that's not the case. Some people, I won't say all people, but sometimes people are out to use you, to get what they can from you, to manipulate you, to control you, or gaslight you, or whatever other words you may want to use. So in that instance, that's when you do paying attention to the little radar that you have, that in many ways we have been taught to ignore that, to not look at that, to not accept that, to not realize that that is something that is real. You may get some type of reaction, you may get hot, you may get cold, you may start to sweat, you may get those butterflies as a warning or as a caution to pay attention to what it is that is going on with this person or this group of people or whatever. It's a sign that this may not be in your best interest. And, we have been taught to dismiss these things because there's no scientific proof or scientific anything. There's no visible, physical, malleable, tactile evidence of what it is that you're feeling. So we're told to dismiss it, we're tripping, we're dreaming, we're off in space or whatever. But those things happen for a reason. If you check out animals who have not been domesticated, and even domesticated animals still hold on to their instincts in a lot of ways. If any of you have had animals or watched animals, sometimes they'll be, playing, sleeping or whatever, and all of a sudden they jump up and they're looking around, or they just stop and they're looking, and it may be something outside of our senses, but we have been taught to deaden our senses. That connection that we had has been socialized out of us. Back to the animals, they see, hear, feel, experience things. All the tales of the birds leaving the area right before the earthquake, or all the animals running up on the hill before the tsunami or whatever. And we had those senses at one time. Most of us have lost them, but it's just a matter of tuning in to recapture and reconnect with those senses that we had. So, that's something that we need to get back to, should get back to enable us to avoid certain situations, certain things in our lives, certain people in our lives, certain groups in our lives, enable us to not be a part of that, especially when it's not for our greater good. Acknowledging those feelings that we have, those sensations that we have that may have no rational or may have no rationale for that being the case. But when you start tuning into those things, you can oftentimes avoid people, places, things, groups that are not for your highest good, because you tapped into that feeling, that sensation ahead of time. What was that movie? I can't think of the name of the movie, but there was a group of friends who were about to get on a plane to, I can't remember what they were going to see or who they were going to see, but one of the members of the group started feeling a certain kind of way about the trip, and he kept saying, I think if I remember correctly, he had a vision that the plane blew up, and he kept saying, no, we can't get on the plane, we can't get on the plane, and everybody else was like, no, we have to get on the plane, we have to go, and he started making a scene, and he started getting very uptight and irate and screaming and hollering, and the officials actually removed all of them from entering the plane, and the group was all mad at him for making him get off the plane. They missed the plane, and they're screaming and hollering at him. He can't explain what it was. It was just a feeling. And as they are discussing this situation, they're right in front of the window, and all of a sudden the plane that they were on blows up, and everyone's taken aback because they would have been on that plane that had blown up. So he couldn't explain it, but everybody else was like, oh no, that's not right. But his feeling, his intuition, his sense saved them from, or at least in that moment, saved them from an untimely demise. And that's something that we need to get back to. And then as far as getting back to love, it's the same thing. That sense that you have, that feeling that you have can be something that you need to pay attention to if you have these butterflies. And then on the second part, as far as love is concerned, in addition to these feelings that you may get or may not get, people always talk about, oh, I didn't feel the butterflies, the this and the that, but at the end of when you're considering these things, if this is, you're talking about a relationship with someone, is the butterflies going to help you do something, accomplish something, gain something? Or is it just a warning that maybe to check something, watch something, feel something other than the butterflies? Notice that these butterflies are possibly warning you of the potential tsunami that could be. And then also, as far as, people can make their mouths say anything, so you need to watch what people do, because sometimes you may not get that feeling per se, but if you pay attention to things that are being said, if somebody tells you, oh, I miss you, where you been, I haven't heard from you, but are their fingers broke? Are they in ICU? Are they on lockdown and can't move, paralyzed or something? Because outside of that, always putting it on you, they say they miss you, but If they did, why don't they call you? You know, just seems like, that would be the case, If you care about somebody, that's what you do. You talk to people and, oh yeah, I've been, want to catch up with you or whatever, and, they always say, oh, well, I've been busy and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing that. The truth of the matter is, if they really wanted to be around you, they really wanted to hang out with you, they would make the time. People are not that busy. Even busy people are not that busy that they don't have 30 seconds to type you a little message, or I was thinking about you, or they got emojis for everything. Send you a call me, or not call me, because why can't they call you? But that's beside the point. But I'm going to call you, or can we meet up at this time? If that's what they were really about, they would be making the effort too. Relationships are two-sided. It's not just, shouldn't be one person always reaching out, one person always making the effort to have this relationship, to grow this relationship, because you need the effort on both sides, even if it's not a equanimous relationship, even if it's a mentor to mentee situationship, both sides need to contribute in order for it to work. The mentor brings the wisdom and the mentee brings the questions or the curiosity or the creativity. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, well, maybe, okay, we can do that, but maybe we should do it this way. Let's try this. Or what do you think about doing this, that, or the other? So it takes input from both sides in order to make it flourish. And again, with, watching what people do, like for instance, if you ask somebody specifically to not do something, then you asking them not to do this, you have a valid reason for asking them not to do this, especially if it might be a situation where there's a very serious reason why you shouldn't do this. So with your request, your expectation would be that they would adhere to your request. They would acknowledge your request, and they would respect your request. Not later come to find out that not only did they not honor your request, but it caused you very serious problems because of the nature of the situation. So, in that instance, you would think that the person would at least, apologize for the situation, not just brush it off, blow it off, make, rationalize why they did what they did. Oh, it was because of blah, 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 but blah, blah, blah doesn't matter. If you said specifically, do not do this, why would they do that? If they loved you. Because loving is doing what is good and right to and for someone. So to disregard what was said and to do that, there's no way that could be love. And then not to acknowledge, take responsibility for what they did, just to rationalize it away as whatever. That's not love. That's Whew, it's a myriad of things. It could be, gaslighting, displacing the blame, playing the victim, making excuses for their bad behavior. So, you have to deal with these situations, but then, they come back and act like it never even happened. Oh, okay, well, let's just be cool again. But we never even dealt with the situation in the first place, so how are we going to be cool again? So, when you're in these relationships with people, you have to watch what they're doing, because they say they love you, but their words didn't prove that. Because when you ask them to do something and they didn't do it, then they didn't take responsibility for it. All of these things that they are saying, do they say anything? Oh, well, I didn't think that it was, but it wasn't up to you to think that because you were told not to do this, that, or the other. So just being mindful about what love is, because love is not a noun. It's a verb, it's an action, it's a being, it's a sentience. It's an act of an action. So when you're endeavoring into love, make sure that your actions are in line, aligned with your words, such that what you do is what you say, and what you say is what you do. So, thank you for coming to the Spiritual Joint today, and we will be back soon. Peace.